One of the tricks, I think, just playing the G major scale, Segovia scale for you, so you can kind of have a visual of it at the beginning of this video, so that you can just kind of go back to the beginning and watch it again. But easy to find that way if it's at the beginning. The I want to turn this off here. One of the tricks that you can utilize to do the shifts here, which I failed to do one of those times that I played it, is to just look ahead. So on the first string, I'm playing to finish off the scale, the A and the B. I'm playing at the 5th and 7th fret, and then I look at the 8th fret, and because that's where my first finger is going to go. And then I play the 8th fret and 10th fret. And then I look at the 12th fret, because that's where my first finger is going to go. Now, I have one fret marker on here. It's just a piece of tape. This guitar didn't have any fret markers when I got it. I've had this guitar for a very, very long time. Probably 35 years. And it was cracked and everything, but it's held up great. It's an Asturias. It's not a particularly expensive guitar. And then descending, kind of the same thing applies. Where am I going to start? I'm going to start the 10th fret. So I'm at the 12, 13, 14, I'm sorry, 12, 14, 15, 15, 14, 12. And I'm going to the 10th fret, but with my pinky. So I want to look at the 10th fret and then go from there. And then much of the next, 12 notes or so of the scale are right here at the 7th position. And then when I get to the end of the notes on the 5th string, I've got to go down to the 2nd position, but my pinky is going to be at the 5th fret. So I'm going to want to look, okay? You can practice that. Pinky on the 10th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret, 9th fret, 7th fret, and then pinky. Yeah, I was having issues with my camera. I was having issues with the USB hub. So once I rebooted and then reconfigured the USB hub and then rebooted again and then I don't know. Be honest, it was just not, nothing was working. So there was a lot of it felt like it was a ghost in the machine. but it turns out the USB hub was unplugged, which I don't even remember when I unplugged it, and I've got 8 things plugged into that USB hub, so I'm like, how did anything work? But I must not have anything horribly important plugged into that hub except the camera. But plugging the hub back in didn't do anything until I rebooted everything. So, but yeah, so when you're, so you don't want to look at where you're going to want to go. Now, hopefully, eventually you can get to the point where you don't have to necessarily look at not bad, if you can close your eyes and play. You can tell I'm concentrating by my eyes. One of the reasons you want to be able to play without necessarily looking at your hands is so that you can be reading music. A lot of times if you're reading music and you look down at your hand and you go back to music, you've lost your place. So if you're reading, and I get it that most of you don't read, don't know how, either don't know how to read or are never called to do it. That's kind of a hand-in-hand thing. You could learn how to read music, but unless you use it, you're going to lose it, as they say. And so, do I recommend that you learn to read music? Not necessarily. I wanted to show you the A minor. The A minor, and I did find it, but I only found it in the Segovia method without the tab. Let me see, where was that? Desktop. I dragged it to our YouTube folder here. So this is, I can, see. The other thing, the problem was when I reloaded everything with the USB, I had to reload the video on here on my OBS on my software, and I couldn't figure out how to get. It was like the video was above all the diagrams, and I want the diagrams to float on top of the video like this, and I couldn't make it happen. I don't know what was going on. So okay, so this is right out of the Segovia book here. This is literally a screen grab of the Segovia book. So if you end up buying this, you will see. So here's the 6 scale. And you can see the variations. And actually, for some reason, this down here, I thought my teacher wrote those. But now that I look at it, this is probably the same book I had. And so that was what Segovia had. And it's I-M-M-I-A-I. I'm sorry, I-A-A-I-M-A. I mean, if I make this bigger. And remember how I originally I wrote I-M-I-M-I-M-I-M? Well, that's because this is what I remembered. So here's the ones, I-M-A-M there, I-M-A. Oh, they only do 7. That's interesting. But this is my recollection, of, this is like, takes me right back to college. Hey, Bob. Hey, Dennis. I told Bruce I wasn't going to make it, and it's just like, I was having issues. Oh, look, what does it start? I didn't start it there at 9:20. That's weird. My graph's all weird. If you look at this, and I'll tell you what, I'll drag this down. The link to the Discord is right there. Let me go to Discord and drag this down so you can, if you want, no, not Discord, Cogs, Discord. All right, go to here, go to guitar. So the tab is Tom's lesson in PDFs. Okay, here we go. So this is going to be the C major and the A harmonic minor. I'm sorry, melodic minor. Okay, and let's talk about that. We've talked about it in the past, but we could talk about it again. All right, in fact, let's just play A minor. We can play it right here in open position. Open A string, 5th string open. Then 2nd finger on the 2nd fret, B. 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, C. Open D string. Then 2nd fret is E. 3rd fret is F. Open G. And then 2nd fret is A. And then descending 2, 0, 3, 2, 0, 3, 2, 0. Okay, ascending A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, or H. By the way, that on a classical guitar, that A at the 5th, on the 4th string at the 7th fret is the loudest note on the guitar. It's almost the note that the body was designed to resonate. names of the notes in the scale because it's just ultimately very helpful. But we can also think of this as the root, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. You can think of it as 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and root. Okay, so I'm going to type it into the chat here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Not hard to remember that, okay? And you can also think of it as root 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, root. I know that's how Sam thinks of it, right, Sam? Hey, Bruce, sorry. I was texting Bruce earlier saying, I'm not going to make it. And then he said, I'll let everyone know. It's like, I couldn't get my camera to come on. It was like, what's going on? So, it was pretty much user error, as expected. But that's called an Aeolian scale or a minor scale, just basically a minor, okay? A minor. It's a minor scale, and it's an A minor scale. So this one. All right, then the way you make melodic minor is you take that flat 7 and you make it just a regular 7. And what that scale is largely used for is when you want to have a 5 chord like an E7. This scale kind of accommodates that G sharp that's in the E chord. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. So it's open, second, third, open, second, third, first, second. And the fret numbers will coincide with your finger numbers as well. So open, and then second finger, third finger, open, second finger, third finger. And that's a harmonic minor. And like the A minor or the regular Aeolian minor, it's the same going up as it is coming down, okay? Hey, Jeff, what's going on? Good to see you. I like tuning my guitar to open H. Well, and there is an H note, believe it or not. And it totally screwed it. I've told this story before, but I'm happy to tell it again. Okay, so a harmonic minor is A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. All right? And that would be root 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7, root. Would be kind of the analysis of that. V chord would naturally be, the 5 chord would normally be a flat 7, right? Yeah, exactly. Dominant 7th. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you would. That's just not. You can do it. It's kind of jazzy, you know. Totally sounds fine. I mean, in some ways, it's got. But the more Spanish, or even almost pop as well, kind of Spanish pop, would be a dominant 7th. My Rascados, it's all up in here. I can feel it when I do them. I'm like, yeah, I'm not relaxing. I took a couple lessons. In fact, that rhythm groove was from my lesson. And then what was the other thing? Oh, I was trying to get my piccato faster. Piccato is just a single note. You know, like if I was playing it with a pick. But I can't do it as fast with my fingers as I can with a pick. And I think, again, what we've talked about so often is to work a snippet. And if you can play, you know, fast A, B, and then go to A, B, C. And then the tough part is when you have to go to the next string. And that's also tough when you're picking. You really kind of have to practice. And I would say for speed to have no wasted motion, but I see some of the fastest music, like guitar players, it looks like they're way overplaying. They're moving way too much. I don't know how they do it. I try to be, you know, I kind of started my speed, my acceleration of my playing as a kid, trying to play jazz, and it was all about economy of movement. And I watch these flamenco players, and they just look like they're flailing. So, yeah, you can hit that like button if you want. So, so the harmonic minor has a very kind of Middle Eastern sound, or just kind of a mysterious or ethnic sound. It's a beautiful scale. And it helps if you know the notes to be able to continue it or to be able to play it anywhere. So A, B, C, D, E, F. Good, right? We're just talking right there. We're just talking the alphabet. And then we have G sharp and then A. And the guitar is such a non-symmetrical instrument that the scale will lay differently all over the fretboard. So, let's see. I can do this chord. Oh, that's very James Bondy, right? Was that? No, that's not right. This. There it is. So that's the A minor, or actually it's called natural minor. Or you could call it Aeolian, but natural minor, melodic minor, natural minor, and then harmonic minor. And then we have melodic minor, and this is the weird one. This is the one that I'm not even sure why it exists, but it's what Segovia based his scale on when he did all 12 minor scales. He did what's called a melodic minor, which is different ascending than it is descending. Descending, it's a standard natural minor. So descending, it's just A, G, F, E, D, C, B, and A. And then if you have if you're playing the melodic minor, you're going to play different notes ascending. So A, B, C, D, E. So far, so good. We're just playing a standard minor. And then we have F sharp, G sharp, and A. Now, I just learned that there was a Holdsworth scale that he played that was like that had a sharp 4 as well, which is really weird. But you can hear this scale. I think the reason for its existence is to give you strong leading back to the A, because it basically sounds like from this point forward, actually from the D note forward, but from the E forward, it's basically an E major scale. E, F sharp, G sharp, A. So we're going to have to get the pinky involved for the first time in open position on this A minor scale. So we have A minor or A natural minor. We have A harmonic minor. And so far we haven't really needed the pinky. But now we're going to need to play the F sharp at the 4th fret of the 4th string, which is going to be played with our pinky. So we're in open position, and we can assign the 1st fret to the 1st finger, the 2nd fret to the 2nd finger, 3rd fret, 3rd finger, and now we've got a 4th fret note, and we're going to assign it to the 4th finger. So it ends up being this. Don't worry, I'm going to play slower. Okay, so here we go. Open A, 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret, that's a B. Then 3rd finger on the 3rd fret is C. Then the open D string. Okay. And then 2nd fret with the 2nd finger is E. Then we're going to get the 4th fret with the 4th finger, and that's F sharp. And then we're going to go to the 1st fret of the 3rd string, and that's G sharp. Then we're going to go to A at the 2nd fret with the 2nd finger. All right, let's play that again. Ascending. This is just ascending, because again, it's different descending. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And then descending, we just go to open it, G, and then 3rd fret on the F, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret for the F, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the D string for E, open D string, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the A string for C, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the A string for B, and then open A. You might want to play that a bunch of times just to kind of get used to how it sounds. That way, when you start to learn if you start to learn all the, brain. Okay. If you start to learn all the Segovia scales, I'm not paying attention. I'm trying to talk and. Pretty sure that's it. Oh, it's right in front of me, right here in A. And then, right? And then 2 notes on the 3rd string, and then descending down to here. And then we get to the 2nd string, 3rd string, position shift, 4th string, 5th string, and then position shift on the 6th string. Don't worry about it. We're not going to work on this yet. All right. I just want to lay the groundwork for what harmonic minor means and what kind of scale that is. And so the use for it, that's what I can't really figure out. I don't ever use it. I'm not sure, but one of the things, the byproduct of doing those scales is you're learning more notes, and it's less symmetrical in some way. So I think maybe there's some benefit in that. And again, look where my thumb is. I didn't really bring it there in time, but so let me write down the notes in A. It's A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Then descending is G, F, E, D, C, B, A, right? I think that's right. And then the analysis of that would be root, 2nd, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. You see that? We only had 1 flat on the ascend, and then going backwards, you have the flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, and then root. Not that you could see that, but We don't have very many people on it, mainly because I got late. Now, there should be another video drop. I mean, a video dropping. Paul David and I did. He released a video. His. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think he would text me if he uploaded. If he uploaded the new video. Yeah. So he's the videos. Let's see. So his, oh, it's that. Okay, so he did this one. So he did 2 weeks ago. He did the guitar NAMM thing, and then evolution of a simple melody in a few simple steps. He just did. I think he's still going to release it. We'll see. He may not. It's totally up to him. We spent the morning together, so, and they edited it. I saw the final product. He said it was 98% done. So we'll see. You know, he may just like, oh, I need a video. Let's post that one. So, you know, we'll talk about it. I can't really talk about what the subject matter was because I want that to be his surprise. I mean, you might be able to figure it out, but yeah, so that'll be fun when that drops. I think last time, Bruce, I got a couple thousand. I was hoping for 20,000 new subscribers, and I just hit 137, which is cool. I mean, you know, I'm shocked that this. I mean, obviously, it's not going to go down necessarily, but when I look at my analytics, I mean, the views are down because my diamond in the rough, my lightning caught in a bottle video is getting older and older. I mean, you know, if I sort my content and I sort by views, it's not even close. I got 4.2 million views of this one. Now, if I look at the analytics, you know, I'm still getting 21,000 views a month from that. I've gotten 1,500 views of that video in the last 48 hours. I mean, it's pretty crazy. But if I go like last 365 days, yeah, it's crazy how it's pretty flat. I mean, it's, you know, if I just randomly click on any one day, here's 516 views on this day. Let's see, last April 21st, 525. I'm sorry, 713, 559, 400, 5, 6, blah, 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 blah. And I come in here and it's like 800. It's 800. It's like I'm actually getting more views now than I was 10, 11 months ago. So, yeah, and then there was a spike on it for some reason. I don't know how that happened, but YouTube maybe promoted it back in November. And maybe it was Thanksgiving and maybe Christmas. People are getting guitars for Christmas or something. Like goes up to 1,000 views a day. So, you know, that's cool. I mean, if I go the last since upload and then I click on it, let's see, I'll go back a couple of years because this video is quite old. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I've got like back in 2020, well, 2020, everybody was sitting around home. There's 2,000 views a day of that video. 2,700 when COVID just started. When I was doing those dailies, 5,400 views, 5,600, 7,600. These are daily views. When I first dropped the video, it actually freaked out. It went up to like, I see 19,000, but there was like pretty much right after I dropped the video, it exploded and got a huge viewership. I've never had a video do that since then. So if I go back, let's see, go back to my second most viewed is not bad. I mean, it's 5 songs with only 2 chords, and it's the first one I did. I've done others. I'm not sure why this one, I mean, because it's the first one, I guess. And I got people, the percentage of likes is 94% likes, which is, you know, pretty good. But for me, that's not great. I usually live in that 96 to 97% range. Very rare to have 100% likes. Usually, I'm going to rub somebody the wrong way and they're not going to like my video. After that, it's, I mean, you can see these, you could go to my channel and then click on videos and then click on most popular. You can see this order. But I have play most any song in DADGAD. It's so funny, I got a comment that, don't be colloquial in your titles. You should say play almost any song. Play most any song says the same thing, does it not? I mean, I could totally change that, but it just was kind of annoying. I don't know. It bothered her, and I did it again. I play most any song in open D tune, and those are my third and fourth most popular videos. So it's cool. I mean, and then some fun chords in open G, which is really old. That one goes back to 2013. That video is 12 years old, and it's my fifth most popular video. Let me click on it and see analytically what are we getting. So in the last 48 hours, I've got 48 views, basically a view an hour. It's not bad. I mean, the video this last month has made me $2.40. So, you know, think of it as an annuity, right? I mean, I'm done with that video. It's posted. That's it. So if you want to be a YouTuber, you know, I guess the lesson here is just start posting stuff that you have some expertise on and that you're passionate about, and then maybe that'll catch on. Like I said, I actually have the notes to do a video on how my channel blew up. I mean, you know, I'm not thinking 137,000 subscribers is a blow up, but it's interesting the couple things that happened to make it jump from, you know, 500 to 8,000, and then 8,000 to whatever, and then, you know, from 40,000 to 100,000 to get that plaque behind me. So that's pretty. It's to me, it's interesting, and some of it is paying attention to comments. The videos. If I go back to my video list, I mean, 7 Tips for Older Beginners was a recommended. Somebody asked for something like. They said you should do something like this, and I did it. The one was what are some chords in open D? That was a request. All the open tuning ones. I just did a new one that's open tunings. Let's see. Yeah, so if I sort my newest one, almost to 1,000. I've got 921, but I don't. Let's see what kind of daily view. In 48 hours, I've gotten 18 views on this. It's pretty flat. In fact, I've lost a subscriber since I posted it, which is interesting. But I probably lost a subscriber that, and if I click on it, I actually lost 2 subscribers and gained 1. So the subscribers I probably lost were ones that subscribed after they saw the 7 Tips for Older Beginners. And if I go, I probably need to do another beginner video. In fact, let me look at my last few videos, because my favorite wah thing, nobody's interested in the wah stuff. That's something I'm passionate about. Maybe that video will get something going. The Pink Floyd Jam track, no, not really. The last one that did pretty well, some fun DADGAD progressions, and it's got 11,000 views. Let's look at the analytics now. I got 183 views in the last 48 hours, and it's actually climbing. I could show you the, sorry, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to do a screen grab, okay. This is not typical. Oh, sorry, that didn't work. Desktop. This is not typical for my videos to do this. Usually they kind of hit and go flat. They kind of flatline. So this one has got some momentum, upward momentum. You see that? And that's good. What does that tell me? And I could delete this now. But what that tells me is, remove, that there's still a really voracious appetite for open tuning videos. I could do some more fun DADGAD progressions. I don't even remember what the video was. I think, if I'm not mistaken, did I include a download that you could download the...
This is the quickest way to hit a...
My speakers are on. Did I include a download or anything? Yeah, link to Dropbox. So I don't know how many people have downloaded that, but if I click on that, you can see it and download it. And yeah, so it's actually, I put a lot of work into this one. It's starting to pay something. Oh, it's funny. I did some covers like Canon and D and Motel Transylvania. so, so if I do Open D, if I do the same thing like some fun Open D progressions, then I can maybe get some more views that way too. So you do have to pay attention to what's success. Obviously, that's kind of a stupid thing to say, but it's comments you have to pay attention to too. So some fun dadgad. The one I did before that was the R&B jam track, 600 views, 657 views, nothing. I did 3 D minor scales, 900, almost 1,000 views. 3 E minor scales, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Those, the reason I did a bunch of those, and not a bunch, I think I've done 5 or 6 of those. The reason is because the first ones I did, like some fun G scales, some fun C scales, those actually got pretty good views. Now, another one that's interesting that's kind of taken off, and it's a review thing, almost to 10,000 views. The acoustic guitar mic shootout that I did. And then the ETA Strat one, which is kind of a response to the... I wish the mandolin one would get more review. Now, it's got 99% positive, which is cool. But it's got 8,000 views. But my mandolin, for guitar players, I thought would catch on more. There's a lot of information on that video. That took a long time to do. Let me see. I'm not necessarily going to tell you how much I made on this thing, but let me see how much I made on this thing in total. Since upload, yeah, not enough, not even close to enough to justify my time. Let's put it that way. I've got a thing I've got to attend to, but I'll do it in a second. So yeah, this is, why did this stop? Oh, is it going to stop if I click away from it? No? Okay, I don't know why it stopped. Okay. Now, anyway, so, maybe I should do an open, where's my, oh, check it out. I got the Taylor out. I don't normally have the Taylor out. But yeah, I've got some pitting out of some frets here that I need to have them taken out. Not tune either. But oh, everybody take a sip because I changed guitars. One of our drinking game rules. I'm almost out of coffee. No. Yeah, I had a really late start today because I couldn't get the camera to work. My USB hub was unplugged. It had no power. I don't know why I did that. Well, I know why I did it, but I don't know why I didn't plug it back in. So yeah, maybe I should do an open D progression video. But I like that one's starting to climb. I need my stand. So that could be my, maybe one of my next videos. I'll have to conceptualize and come up with some fun songs to play using the using maybe some pop progressions or something like that, just something fun. But Yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, so the mandolin one, it's weird too because maybe I have less ads in it. It looks like, I mean, I'm still not to minimum wage yet on the mandolin video, which is an old video now. I mean, that video I did, when was that? July 4th, 2023. So over a year and a half old. And I still haven't made minimum wage for my time. But in my head, I think of it as kind of an annuity. And if it pays anything, if it keeps paying, like if I look at what it's paid the last month, last 28 days, it's paid $1. Okay, so if it pays $1 every 28 days for the rest of my life, then cool. Will I ever get to minimum wage? It depends on how long I live. I'm not sure. So I'm sorry. Are we getting questions here? I haven't been paying attention, and I also know we don't have a whole lot of people on here. So wait, let's see. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Oh, correct. I do not see who the subscribers are on the video that unsubscribed. That's correct, Sam. However, if I go to my channel, let's see. If I go to my channel here and I click on recent subscribers, I have a list here of subscribers. So I can see someone named Diego Ganoli just subscribed. Date subscribed. Well, this is a while ago. So I can sort it. So literally, Corin Forster subscribed. And actually, I don't really look at this very often. And then I can sort by subscriber count. All right. So I can sort by date added, and I can sort by subscriber count. And I can also subscribe to them. Okay, so if I sort by subscriber count, my biggest... Okay, so this Diego, does he have the most subscribers? No, I thought what's her name subscribed to me, but okay. Oh, not last 90 days. Okay, sorry. Lifetime. Here we go. So Lifetime. Yeah, Rachel Talbot, who's a friend of mine, and she's a big YouTuber. She's got 1 million subscribers. She subscribed to me. Something's called Song Notes by David Potts. I don't know who this is. Lion Mite. Oh, Lion Mite. And, country song teacher. He probably subscribed because he liked my jam tracks. Oasis Motion Films. Not sure why. Baraka Keys. No, a lot of these I'm not sure why. This Diego, though, this is interesting. Why did he subscribe? And, one of my concerns is that people subscribe to use my ideas. I've had people do that. I've got friends that get frustrated by that, and sometimes, it's one thing if somebody with 15 subscribers teaches one of my lessons, and that's, it happens. It's another thing when someone that has, 10 times more subscribers than I have, that they're kind of, looking around and trying to find things to teach them, because it is tough. It is tough. And I don't think any of my videos have ever been from any of my videos have ever been from someone else's idea. Now, truth be told, when I'm thinking of teaching on something, do I sometimes watch some videos to kind of get more information? Yes. But I don't steal content or anything like that. It's really just, I didn't know that. Maybe, I don't really do too much commentary like Rick Beato does. I mostly do guitar lessons. I could do more commentary. My Beatles one did pretty well. I did a couple Beatles ones. And one did well. Let me see. Beatles. Yeah, let's see. What's this one? My favorite Beatles song. That one didn't really do much. Where am I at? Total. I've gotten one view in the last 48 hours. Since upload lifetime, 3,000 views. The other one where I talked about what was it? What was it? Did I talk about? Oh, the Beatles Get Back. My thoughts, yeah, and review. And I'm not even sure. Like no views in the last 20. Yeah, it kind of climbed up there. I got 5,000 views of it. So that's kind of why I did a second one. But actually, the funny thing is now, the second one I did, this one's only got 5,000 views. The second one I did, which was more about Beatles music, was my favorite Beatles song. And technically, it's really just a Paul McCartney song. That one's sitting at 3,000 views. It's still not moving much, but like I said, one view in the last 48 hours. Let's see, last 28 days, 20 views. Yeah, so that's not going to really get up. And again, if I look at it, I guarantee you I have not made, not even close to minimum wage. So I do this for the kind of cumulative mailbox money. If you're trying to do YouTube to make money, I don't know that again, my original reason for doing it was not for money. It was just I stopped teaching private guitar lessons, and I wanted to get that pedagogy that I developed over the years up on somewhere, stored somewhere, so people could benefit from it. Didn't think that it would really blow up, and it kind of didn't. It really, the only, like I said, the main video that blew up was the 7 tips for older beginners, which I was a good one to do that video because when I started teaching, I was 15. So for a long time, most of my students were older than me. For years, even into my 30s, I had students that were in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. And it was because I was teaching so many people that were retired and decided to take up guitar that I had some insight and kind of came up with some of these ideas. And some of them were ones that I used at the time when I taught, and some were were common sense things. I've since done another one. I think I did another one that was user suggested, and there's so many, because I even ask in the video, hey, give me your suggestions up there, because that's a great way to come up with more video ideas. So is there data indicating what video they were playing when they subscribed? No, I don't have that information, I don't think. The only information I have on subscribers is who they are, when they subscribed, and let's see, sorry, dashboard, and how many subscribers they have. So, yeah. But some of these have pretty decent number of subscribers. I mean, this one's oud music. Somebody's kids are home. I think it was a school day. Yeah, when your neighbor has a trampoline, oh my gosh, it's all you hear, screaming kids. No, USC should not be in the Big Ten. No, I know, I'm not. The Pac-10 is 2 teams now. What the heck? They did it for the money? What? I mean, I had an easy solution for this. Sorry, tangent. Squirrel. Just move the Pac-10 games earlier. Move them to 10 in the morning. Who cares what time they are? People don't mind driving to the stadium at 8 o'clock to go see a game. What difference does it make? On the Saturday, I never understood that. It's like, why are the Pac-10 games at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night? No one's going to watch them on the East Coast. That's 11 p.m. You're never going to stay up to watch the end of an Oregon USC game. I mean, it's just, if that, to me, that was like the easiest solution. It's like, well, they don't want to compete with the East Coast games. Well, tough. They don't own those time slots. And it's like, and if the 2 of the top 5 teams in America are in the Pac-10 and they're playing at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock and it's 1 o'clock on the East Coast, well, then people will watch it. but they were playing their stupid games at like 11 o'clock on the East Coast. That makes no sense. Yeah, I have a feeling college football is going to keep changing radically with the NIL thing that was a name, image, likeness, monies. Um, uh, you know, that's going to be a big deal. Um, I think that may. You still don't see the NFL drafting young players. Is there a rule that you have to be a certain age, 21 or older, to bounce to the NFL? Um, yeah, that's why you have reruns on TV. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I told you, Alex and we didn't watch the Super Bowl because we didn't want to watch the Chiefs win. So we went to a movie. We went and saw the Complete Unknown, which was very, very good. The Bob Dylan movie, and the Pack 2. I know, Pack 2. Um, and then I've been watching the game. It's obviously totally different because I know the outcome, but it's still fun. It's still fun to watch the Chiefs lose. And I'm kind of wearing Chiefs colors now, a little bit maybe. I don't know what their colors. Um, yeah, yeah, and I mean, I don't really care, but if I wanted to watch a Pac-10 game, I'd get up. Oh, I'm way up before 9 o'clock anyway. So it's not that big a deal to watch a game on the. But like even if they played the games at 3 p.m. here, it would be 6 p.m. on the East Coast. It would be prime time at that point. Um, oh, you must be out of high school for 3 years. Yeah, so that would put the minimum age at right around 21, maybe late 20. If you graduate from high school at 17, you could feasibly play. Yeah, you could be 20 to enter that. But the NFL doesn't like taking those kind of chances, especially with early picks. They might do, and a kid would have to declare that he's leaving college to go into the draft, I would think. You couldn't just go, hey, this is the best quarterback. We're going to draft him as a freshman or as junior because we can get him in the sixth round, even though he would be a first rounder next year, kind of thing. I think the Celtics did that with Len Bias. They drafted him a year early, and they didn't get him until the next year, and then he died of a heart attack caused from cocaine, I think they said. That was a bummer. The Celtics drafted this kid that was supposed to be one of the greats, and he passed away. I don't know if you remember that story, Len Bias. I'll look him up. Yeah. Born in 63, so this would have been, this was quite a while ago. Landover, Maryland, 6'8". He went to Maryland. He went to Maryland for 4 years. He's drafted in the first round, second overall pick. Maybe he wasn't the one drafted before he graduated. I don't know. It seems like there was a player that got drafted like a year before and they had to wait for him. Yeah, so sad. He never got to play in the NBA. Get rid of that. We're climbing a little bit here. Just me talking. So I did. So apparently Timothy, I can't think of his name, that did the Bob Dylan movie. He actually, you're hearing him playing and singing. Now there were a couple times where his hands didn't quite match what he was doing. Like Alex pointed out that he was doing a hammer-on, or you could hear a hammer-on and you don't see him playing it, and that kind of stuff. And there's a reason for that because they recorded all of the takes. So he would do sometimes 40 takes of a song, and of course they would have different camera angles. And so what they would do, I guess, is take the best take, and hopefully most of the time it was the best video take as well. And then it would line up, but if it wasn't, they could do, they could have the best take with the best audio take with the best video take. And so they might not perfectly line up. It might look like he's dubbing, but every one of those, everything you hear is him playing and singing. It was pretty amazing. He really poured himself into it. I have not watched the SNL. He was on SNL doing some of the songs. I have not watched that, but I hear it was pretty good. Can someone who is 6'9" and 365 play soccer? No, I don't think so. I don't think you could be fast enough. Maybe goalie, but goalies have to be really fast. I just don't. Soccer is technically a marathon. We talked about this before, right? They run typically anywhere from like 15 to 20 kilometers per match. Which is, you're looking at half a marathon right there. In just an hour and a half. I mean, it's just a lot of running. Now, I've watched enough soccer to know that you're not running all the time. There are guys that, defense players that if the ball's on the other side of the field, they're kind of just standing there watching what's going on. And sometimes vice versa too. But it is, there is a lot of sprinting. Let's see, if anything, NFL slow motion. I don't know about that. You mean as far as the action goes, as far as like timeouts and play calling and all that stuff. Yeah. NFL is all about strategy, and it's all about deception. I was actually, Dennis, I had a kid here that was, this looks to be a bit beyond your skill level. Well, I'm just talking about football right now. But yeah, maybe, yeah. We were talking about the A minor scales in open position. So that might be something that if you rewind a bit, you might be able to see some, we learned 3 different A minor scales in open position. There's 3 different A minor scales, and all good to learn open scales, learn note names, all that stuff. Any information you can start to glean from the guitar, from videos like mine, the better, the more information you have. I was. Yeah, well, there are more than that. There are actually a lot of minor scales. Basically, any scale with a minor third in it is going to be, or a flat third is going to be a minor scale. Just in diatonic scales, if I were to play all the modes of the key of C, there are 3 minor scales there. You have D, Dorian, you have E Phrygian, and then you would have A minor. So you have 3 minor scales there. So I could play A minor, or I could play A Dorian, I could play A Phrygian, but all of them have an A and a C. I could play A Locrian, which would technically be a minor scale, I guess. But if you got if it's an A scale and you have an A and a C in it, technically it's a minor scale. I could play A diminished scale. See, I gotta make sure. And they all have their uses. The A minor, I love using I love using Phrygian because it has kind of a heavy metal. wars or action scenes or whatever. Dorian, you know, A minor, A Dorian. I'm going to do like a 2-5-1 progression, A minor to D. Then the scale you would use over that would be an A Dorian scale because it has an F sharp in it. An A natural minor just is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So it's just it's the alphabet. You could call it the alphabet scale, I guess. If that helps, Caleb. Oh, Last Resort. I'm trying to think of what that is. Who's the artist for Last Resort? Oh, right. Oh, Papa Roach. Yeah, I was really late today, and I've got to take off here in a minute, but I was really late today because I couldn't get the camera to work, and it was because my USB hub was unplugged, and I plugged it back in, and it still didn't work, and I had to reboot, and it was a bunch of things, and then all the settings were wrong, and Charlie, tough question. Would an artist like Bob Dylan succeed today where pitch correction dominates human-like singing stands apart? Oh, wow, that's a huge question. I actually, and I should do a video on this. If Sgt. Pepper's was the Beatles' first album, no one would know who the Beatles were. And Sgt. Pepper's is probably one of the greatest rock albums of all time. But there's a progression, there's a context to things. There's something, you know, you've got to fit in your society, and Dylan would not be popular today because he doesn't fit in the society of the youth. Okay, keep in mind that typically, and it, you know, was, you know, your goal in writing a pop song was to get the 15-year-old girls to call the radio station and say, "Hey, can you play that song that goes Ella, 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 hey, hey, hey?" My friend and his cousin wrote Umbrella for Rihanna, and the song was #1 for 7 or 8 weeks or something, and it had a hook. A hook is what pulls people in. Dylan doesn't write hooks. He never has. He's got some songs that have hooks in them, but I don't think he was trying to write a hook. And a hook could be a lyric, it could be a melody. Most of the time, maybe 60% of the time, the hook is the chorus melody, is the thing that hooks people in. But I've made the argument that on Creep, Radiohead's Creep, I remember hearing it. I'd never heard of Radiohead, didn't know who they were. I heard the song on the radio, and I went straight. They didn't say what it was. I hate it when they don't say it, you know, who it was. Or I wasn't listening when they said it or whatever. You know, they said it before the song played, or I don't know. And so I go straight to Tower Records and I say, "Hey, I talked to someone there and it was younger, you know, not much. I wasn't very old when that, well, I guess I was probably 40. No, when that record came out, I was probably 35, or younger. But, you know, one of the guys that worked at the store, I said, "Hey, I just heard a song on K-Rock. I don't know who the artist was. I can't remember any lyrics. All I remember is at one point before the guitars came in, it sounded like a car starting." He goes, "What?" I said, "It sounded like cha-chunk, cha-chunk." And he goes, "Oh, that's Creep by Radiohead." He knew exactly. That was the hook, the cha-chunk, cha-chunk. And if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere or I saw a video somewhere that was a little practice amp. And because, you know, just a teeny tiny bit that they really it was overdriven. They basically just cranked it in the mix so it sounded bigger than it was. I mean, you can take the littlest thing and make it sound huge if it's the loudest thing on the track. And so that's kind of what they did. So there was a lot of, so there, to find success. Well, success, yeah, it's more difficult to define now. I mean, if you can get 1 billion spins on Spotify, you're successful. I've got a song that probably has 300 million spins on Spotify that I wrote. It's, I think, Cody Simpson's biggest song, but it was one that he and Justin did together. And so it was on Cody. Hard to see spin numbers exactly, but yeah, so it was quite a bit. Yeah, exactly. There are. The thing I liked about one of the things I've never been a huge Bob Dylan fan. I'm probably a bit thrown by his vocal stylings, let's say. Because I grew up listening to the Beatles, and their vocals were amazing and everything. And to answer a question though, auto-tune is used, yes, a lot in pop music. What was the question? Where was it? Oh, yeah. Would an artist like Bob Dylan succeed today, where pitch correction dominates and his raw human-like singing stands apart? There are some singers today that are more raw. I mean, I can't think of any offhand, so I'm not deflecting here, but there are definitely times where so one of the things you want to do when to be successful is to stand out, to be different. If everyone is using auto-tune, then when somebody doesn't, and you can hear imperfections in the voice and pitch and all that, a lot of times they use auto-tune just to kind of to give the vocal a shimmer. And to kind of just, they don't want it too perfect, so you could use vocal. If there's a knob setting on auto-tune where you can turn it all the way to the right and it sounds like a robot. So you want it to be subtle, and so you usually don't go past 50%, or else you're going to start to get to some robotic stuff. If it's good auto-tune, you got a good processor or whatever, you can go 10% or 15%, just to kind of fix a couple of the. Usually what they do now is they use I forget the name of the software. It's not auto-tune, but you can actually see the graphic and you can drag the pitch up and get it closer. You can move it around. There's a guy that Pegasus something on YouTube where he looks at different performances like the Eagles, and he notices that the pitches are identical in these two performances, which means they're singing to tracks. They're not really singing live. They've got tracks going. Wings of Pegasus. Thank you, Sam. So he talks about that a lot, and so you can kind of go crazy with auto-tune, or you can just kind of go like auto-tune is great. I work with singers, and a lot of times they did a perfect performance except one note, one word. So to use auto-tune to fix that, I don't think that's a crime. You can't tell that it's been used. If someone's singing and you only need to fix one note, they'll be accused of using auto-tune because their pitch is so good. Like I said, I've been in the studio many, many times with Justin Bieber, and when he's recording vocals, he works really fast, and he'll do stacks like really fast, like 6 stacks of everything. So if he does a part, and then he'll do 6 of those, and then he does a harmony to that part, he'll do 6 of those, and he'll do them like oh stack, oh stack, oh stack, oh, and then the files get sent to somebody who does kind of the auto-tune stuff. But again, I don't think that if they were to make all of 6 of those stacks perfect, it wouldn't work. It would sound, it's like when you play a 12-string, those top 2 strings, they're unison. You don't want them in tune, perfectly in tune. You want them slightly out of tune so that there's some phasing. If they're perfectly in tune, it sounds like one string. It defeats the purpose. Very difficult to get two strings perfectly in tune like that. But yeah, comping vocals, exactly, Charlie. So when comping is when you sing all the way through and then you sing all the way through again or whatever, and then you pick the best of. Stacks are a little different. Stacks are when you want to have 6 voices on one note. And so a lot of John Lennon did this all the time. And also before, so there's vocal line, which is really probably what they're doing with the Bieber stuff more than they are doing auto-tune. Vocal line, what that does is line everything up. So if I say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you a bunch of times, and they're slightly off, it's going to sound like a bunch of people, and it's going to sound weird. And it's going to get out of phase and everything. So vocal line lines everything up. So they're probably doing more vocal line than pitch correct on stacks. But there's they don't want it necessarily to sound like a choir of people. It just gives. I don't know if they spread it. To be honest, I'm not there when like Josh is mixing. But yeah, vocal harmony stacking is slightly different than comping. Comping, I'll do comping with solos. So the problem with comping with guitar solos is that if I don't put breaths, in the same spot, then I'll go, I love this phrase, but I don't like this phrase, and I love this phrase. I can't comp to anything else if I played through into that middle phrase. So if you're going to comp a guitar solo, you really do have to mentally go, okay, at this point, I'm going to take a breath, okay, so that I can do the next phrase. Choose phrases and things like that. With vocals, it's easy because you're literally taking breaths, and you have vocal, you have, unless it's a rap, even raps you can comp, but if it's a typical vocal, you've got tons of gaps. So it's easy to comp a vocal. So it's create a composite is what that is. So I could do 10 takes vocally of a song, and I may go, wow, I love the first phrase of take 3 and the second phrase of take 4, and I really like the first chorus phrase of take 1, but the 7th take here, and as long as all those are recorded at the same time, in the same room with the same microphone, you should be good. If in the middle of that you change where you're standing, if in the middle of that you go have a meal and you come back and your stomach's full, your sound may be different. You might not be able to come. If you come back the next day, or if you have a head cold and it's not going to sound anything like, it's really difficult to comp unless you recorded with guitar solos, maybe less of an issue. But sometimes if you put the guitar down, or, what guitar did I use? Shoot, I can't remember what, or, the amp setting changes. You can't comp it because it sounds like the guitar changed in the middle of the guitar solo. So it's not going to work. But vocal comping, usually you want to kind of go, okay, let's do 10 takes or whatever, and then I'll comp it later. You would. I know I'm giving you inside baseball stuff. And then we were talking about football too, NFL. And I was telling you about the hey Pepper. So NFL is really, probably college too, but I don't watch a lot of college. But it's really more, it's deception. I've been watching a lot of videos. It's strategy and deception, but I'm watching a lot of videos of analyzing the Super Bowl and why the Eagles just killed the Chiefs. I wasn't expecting that. I knew the Chiefs hadn't really played anybody good, and they played the Bills and they beat them, but the first time they played them, they lost. Their schedule was easier than I felt like it should have been as a Super Bowl winner. NFL schedules, there are 10 games out of 17 that are set in stone. So with those remaining 7 games, the NFL can massage the schedule so that the team that wins the Super Bowl has a harder schedule. But I don't feel like they did it very well last year. And I felt like and if you're in an easy division, and they were pretty much in an easy division, they had 6 easy wins. And if the opposite NFC division they play was an easy division, then, and also like if they played the Bengals started really slow in the year, and so they almost made the playoffs. And so if they played Bengals, I can't remember if they played them at the beginning of the year, but they were just awful at the beginning of the year. Or if a player, if their main quarterback's injured or whatever, and they play them. And the Chiefs won a lot of games with a field goal or a missed field goal or a penalty call in the last 2 plays. So I never felt like they were decisive, and I felt like they were vulnerable going into the Super Bowl, but not to the point where I was willing to take the risk of watching it. So, but when I had this kid from Copenhagen who'd never watched an NFL game, and we were watching the game together on a Sunday afternoon, I was explaining the game, and I'm like, look, a lot of times you'll see the offense go in motion. Well, that's so they can see if the defense is in man-to-man. Well, sometimes the defense will pretend to be in man-to-man, and they'll actually drop to zone. It's like 3D chess in a lot of ways. But consequently, Dennis, you're right. It's slow. Ultimately, the game is pretty ding-dang slow when it comes to how fast the plays go, and then you get TV timeouts, or somebody scores a touchdown, then there's a timeout, then there's a TV commercial and things like that. Soccer doesn't stop. It goes for 45 minutes and then some and keeps going. I mean, if it stops, they add time to the clock, which is always weird to me. That seems really arbitrary. It's like so many times to me in soccer, the play has stopped, the ball's out of bounds, and they don't really add that time. I mean, maybe they keep track of it better than I think they are, but it's like, maybe they add it at the end. I don't know. But it's like when you get to the end of the game, you think you're out of time, and then they add bonus time. How did you know? It's like, aren't you're trying to score really fast, and then you find out you got 3 more minutes left? It's like, it's so weird to me. What did Sadie say? Yeah, and I was kind of surprised by how non-political Dylan was, as well. I mean, I feel like the biggest songs he had were not necessarily very political. Some of them were, some of them weren't. And I feel like his idols were very political. The movie's great. If you haven't seen it, I would check it out. It's in theaters. It'll be in streaming, I'm sure, soon. But yeah, Sam, the nature of football, exactly. Yep. And to be honest, I could watch an entire soccer match and not be excited once. Not once in an hour and a half. Not once am I going, oh my gosh, because to me it's a lot slower than the NFL. When a play is called, the ball is snapped, man, anything can happen in the NFL. Anything can happen. In soccer, I'm like, okay, they're kicking the ball around in the corner over there. They're hanging out. They're okay. Oh, they're going to kick it to this guy. Oh, he's going to kick it back to him. Oh, he's going to kick it back to him. Oh, that's called a tea party. That's not called a sport. So I'm sorry, Dennis. I just can't. I've tried to get on board with it. I never liked baseball. I thought baseball was boring until I learned more about it, and there was more strategy going on than I realized. And made it a little bit more enjoyable. And I imagine the same thing's true with soccer. If I learn more of the strategy of what's going on. I tried to get into a little bit after, I met David Beckham and was teaching their son guitar lessons. And and I was like, oh, let me check out David Beckham. Let me check out what he does for a living. Or what he was retired at that point. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, I get it. If you're a fan and it's your team and everything, it's exciting. So, Bob Schumann, the 60s, I think were more lyric centric for sure. Yeah, it's interesting, Sadie, and it's hard because, again, the charts, well, for one thing, Dylan didn't chart. I mean, song-wise, let me look and see. You had a lot more album-oriented radio stations back then that would play album tracks, but they weren't pop. So if I look at charts, all right, boy, hard to, but when you make a list of the best rock records of all time or whatever, then he's going to be on that list. Let's see, discography. I'm not sure how to, oh, well, let me just Google it. Well, he has 4 songs of his went to #1 according to this, so that kind of surprises me. Ranking 4 Bob Dylan songs, Penn songs that went to #1. Okay, so he might not have been the one that "Blowin' in the Wind." He wrote it, but Peter, Paul, and Mary had the hit with it. Like a Rolling Stone. Okay, that's his version. Mr. Tambourine Man, was it his version? Murder Most Foul. Interesting. That's about Kennedy. A 17-minute song. It was his first to hit #1 on any Billboard chart with him as a soul singer when it reached the top of the... Interesting. So, Mr. Tambourine Man... Oh, the Byrds took that to the top of the chart. So he didn't really have... Like a Rolling Stone. Okay, so it was #1 on the now defunct Cashbox 100. So, I mean, I actually, the thing is, I could see Dylan having a #1 hit right now. If Fleetwood Mac can have a hit with an old song, now I'm talking about Dylan having a hit with an old song. Because in the era of TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all of those, some big YouTuber, TikToker could do a video using one of his songs, and all of a sudden it's getting put in all these streams. If I look at his streaming and look at his top songs, probably Like a Rolling Stone is his #1 song. I'm not sure. Yeah, I see that, Dennis, the strategy there too. Oh, what's the rule? Anyway, so a little commentary on over here on the football versus football debate. But yeah, it's. You could have Dylan's song be #1. Now, would an artist like that? I don't know. It could happen. I do feel like there is a trend towards more real stuff. Again, the young people are kind of tired. AI is kind of ruining things. And it's like half the time on Instagram, there's a video or something. And I'm like, whoa, what happened? And it's like, oh, AI. Gosh. Oh, when did that blow up? Oh, it's AI. I didn't know the Eiffel Tower exploded. It's like, oh, it's AI. It's like people are just getting like, okay, stupid. They hate AI. I mean, AI definitely has there's already huge medical breakthroughs that are being brought about by AI. I read about one where the superbugs, the antibiotic resistant superbugs, they asked AI to work on it in 48 hours. The AI came up with the same solution. Came up with 5 solutions, including the #1 solution was the one that it took them 10 years to come up with. And 3 of the 4 they'd already thought of, but the 5th one they'd never thought of. And so they're looking into that. And it was so surprising to this one researcher that he accused Google. He reached out to Google and said, "Did you access my computer files?" And they said, "Absolutely not. We don't have access to compute. We didn't do that, and so it's kind of interesting. But AI doing videos and songs, it's people don't like it, and I don't think that it's going to be necessarily the wave of the future. I mean, I don't want to lose my job. People like creativity, and you're not going to go to a concert to watch a screen. You're not going to pay $500 for a seat to go watch a screen of an AI artist or even a 3D rendering or something. They'll pay $500 for a ticket to see Taylor Swift or whatever, or Bob Dylan. But I kind of make this argument about the 80s, because one of the first, automation, has been around for a while. One of the first computer things to kind of get into music was the drum machine. And everybody was like, oh, the drummers are going to stop having work. They're not going to be able to get gigs. And I'm like, have you ever seen a band other than like the trio playing at the Marriott, cover tunes at the Marriott? But have you ever seen a major artist out on tour with a drum machine? I mean, maybe with a DJ and tracks or something, but people know what they're getting. But if you're going to have a band, you're not going to have a guitar, bass, drums, key, or guitar, bass, keys, and no drummer. A drum machine, really? Not going to happen. I did a show at the Hollywood Bowl with a group called the Nortec Collective, and it was basically 5 Mexicans in their laptops. True story. That's what they would say. And so they're playing, and I'm playing guitar on top of what they're doing, and they're manipulating loops. Well, the truth be told, they weren't doing anything. They were just hitting play on songs, and they took out some elements that were there. We had a horn section there, and we had me on guitar. So they took out those elements so I could play them live, so we could play live to it. But ultimately, they were pretending to do stuff on the DJ kind of thing. They really didn't want to take those kind of risks at the Hollywood Bowl in front of 20,000 people. So, that's kind of not unusual for that kind of genre. But if there's a band up there, you're not going to have a drum machine instead of a drummer. That makes no sense. So that prediction didn't come true. So I can't imagine. People still have an appetite, just like they like teams. They like football teams. They have a team. They have artists that they really like, the Beatles or the Stones or Dylan or Taylor Swift or whoever, and they're going to become fangirls and fanboys of those artists, and they're going to be buying their records and watching their whatever. And is there ever going to be an AI artist that has a #1 hit? Sure, but will they sell out a tour? Of course not. There's no artist. There's no there. So. Yes. Yeah, and AI, that's the other thing. If AI starts to take over, you know what we would do? We would just create 100,000 blogs that just say 1 equals 0 and 0 equals 1, and copy and paste that 1 billion times, and all the AIs will just explode. Yeah. Oh, AI, if you ask AI a question, it's not always right. I mean, the thing is, though, interestingly, though, if you ask a tax law question, like an IRS question, they're much more likely to be right than if you call the IRS. The IRS on those questions, what is their correct rate? It was like 37% of the time they got the right answer, or maybe it was 37% of the time they were wrong. But if you ask AI, it's better. My hair is. I need a haircut. It's just crazy right now. They also tried being a trainer, but man, it helps if kids would actually listen. Yeah, and that's one of the things too with auto. We're talking about auto-tune. Kids don't know about auto-tune. So when a kid's singing along with a song on the radio, they actually learn how to sing along with it using their voice, even though technically prior to that it wasn't possible. There are kids out there that can actually sing stuff that. How did you learn how to do that? It's not even possible. It was auto-tune. So it's going to be interesting. Hey Brian, what's going on? Anyway, I'm gonna sign off. I got some stuff to do. I'm getting I've got to yeah, I've got to get some work done, and so I have to log off. Sorry about the late start. Hopefully there's something in here you can use. I apologize. Not. I need to be a little bit more organized in my lesson. I was trying to find the A minor scale in tab. I'll just probably have to create it myself and then screen grab it. I was hoping to grab it right before we went live, and I couldn't find one. So, and then I couldn't get my camera to work. So we're golden. But if you go to the very beginning of this video, I play the G major scale a bunch of times so you can see it, and if you want to, play along with it. Okay? All right. Talk to you later. God bless everyone. Take care. I'll see you next Monday. Bye-bye. Thanks, Bruce. Thanks, Bob.